Hello, welcome back to AMC Coming Soon. I'm Kristian Harloff, and this is the show where we preview all the upcoming releases and we rate them accordingly to our anticipation level. Joining me today on the panel, first, David Griffin. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Loving to be here, talking about some Jurassic World today, so I'm excited.
And also from AMC Movie News himself, Mark Ellis. What's up, buddy?
Dinosaurs.
That's it. That's all you got to do. They get it and you're out. It's a good sign off.
See you guys.
See you later, buddy. Now, before we get into the movies, let me tell you first about the rating system. It's pretty simple. The first one is, number 1, you're just not interested in this movie. 2 is curious. 3 is seeing it. 4, opening weekend, baby. I'm there. And 5 is camp out. There's nothing else I can do except see this movie, so I'm camping out and don't bother me. That in mind, our first title today, gentlemen, everyone's got the big smiles on their face. There's no competition, I think, this weekend. It's Jurassic World. That's right, the most anticipated sequel in a very long time. You have Colin Trevorrow, who's directing this movie, starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard. And here's the synopsis. 22 years after the events of Jurassic Park, East Newborn now features a fully functioning dinosaur theme park, Jurassic World, as originally envisioned by John Hammond. After 10 years of operation and visitor rates declining, in order to fulfill a corporate mandate, a new attraction is created to re-spark visitors' interest, which backfires horribly. I will start and say I am camping out, gents. This is a movie that I am very, very excited for. The more and more I hear about it, I know some people haven't really loved all the trailers. I don't care. I was just listening to Michael Giacchino's score right before we shot this today, and it sounds just like John Williams. It's everything that I've heard so far from Colin Trevorrow is going back to basics, following Steven Spielberg and John Williams, and painting that picture. I love the idea that they are going off of John Hammond's original concept, and they finally did it. I don't know if anybody would actually ever get bored of dinosaurs. I don't care 10 years or not, but I'll go with it. I'll buy it. But yeah, I'm very excited to see this movie, and I hope it delivers. It could be one of the biggest movies of the year. But Mark, what do you think?
Oh, there's a reason why I'm dressed like Dr. John Hammond's illegitimate son today. It's because I am camping out to see Jurassic World. Now, if I didn't know anything about the premise, if I just heard there was another Jurassic Park movie coming out, I might be at a 2 or a 3, because I didn't like Jurassic Park 3 at all. I remember liking The Lost World, and then I saw it again recently, and I was like, I like that movie? All right. Now, the way that they're doing this, the way that Colin Trevorrow is treating the original material, the original film as the leaping off point, I am so excited about this film. There's some little things that concern me, namely, like what you said. We got to genetically engineer dinosaurs again because people aren't as excited about seeing dinosaurs as they used to be. There's little things like that where I'm like, God, that could really be a bad plot point in the movie, but I'm blocking all that out of my head because the trailers have me so pumped to go back to Jurassic Park, the way that it's like SeaWorld now, the way that that money shot got me, where you got that huge thing coming out of the water and eating Jaws. Jaws, what used to be the scariest thing in cinemas, is now a snack for what we have coming out this summer, Jurassic World. I cannot wait to see this movie.
David?
I'm also at a 5, and I saw the trailers, same reservations. I mean, how does seeing dinosaurs get old? I mean, I know it's 22 years later, but I mean, people are like, dinosaurs, all right. It's kind of yes.
I've done it.
We've done it.
Yeah.
You know, we got to genetically enhance them. I don't know if I like seeing the velociraptors being trained or used as, I don't know, like attack dogs. But I mean, I love the dinosaurs. And so what Spielberg does is I know he's not doing the movie, but what he did is he created this magic. He always does, whether it's E.T., whether it's Jaws, whether it's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, he creates this magic, this kind of making you feel like a kid again, making you kind of awe at something. And I hope that Jurassic World recaptures that. 'Cause it's like starting over. It's a fresh slate, clean slate. So I hope that Jurassic World does that. I'm a 5. I'm camping out. I'm going to be there and seeing it.
I'm going to this movie for moments. Like, when you think about Jurassic Park, you remember the T-Rex at the end with the banner falling down. You remember the glass falling. You remember hold on to your butts. You remember all that stuff. I want some moments. That's what I need from Jurassic World. And what I really like is it's going to prove what kind of movie star Chris Pratt is, because we know that he's box office. We know that he's got that charisma. We saw what he did in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's got the work ethic, because if you see the way he was in Parks and Rec, and then he cut up and he became that believable star. Now let's see what he does. I don't want to see him too jokey. Let's see how the balance works, because he's got to be believable kicking dinosaur butts. So
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where, look, this movie could be bad. I mean, there's a lot of things that give me pause about this film, but because it is Jurassic Park, it's one of those movies. It's just things you get up for. And like you said, moments, you're definitely getting moments in this movie. There is not going to be a lack of cool things to look at in this film. The story, I think, is going to be carried by Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. The pressure's on them. The pressure's on them to make me believe this stuff. David, you brought up the training of raptors. That sounds kind of dumb. Like, oh, I can train raptors and I can do this stuff, and then I'm on a motorcycle and I'm riding and there's raptors running with me and they're not trying to eat me for whatever reason. I can believe it.
How do you know, though? You guys don't know what raptors do?
The movie. I know what they did in the first one.
Yeah, but you don't know. You guys, it's a raptor. They found new things. They biologically, anyway, that's a whole, see, this is the beauty
Well, it
of
worries me
this.
because the raptors were so smart and intelligent. They were so scary, because I remember like that classic scene again, those moments, Kristian, like where it opens the door. It's like, well, I think what's her name was like, well, unless learn how to open doors or something, then they show the scene and the door opens. I mean, but maybe this genetically enhances is going to be so crazy.
I will say, though, you know who I agree with you that those two have pressure on them, but not as much as Trevorrow has. Because of what I will say with Colin Trevorrow having the most pressure is because when it's going to have a big opening weekend. I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. When this thing delivers, and if it delivers and becomes the sequel really that we always wanted, this guy's going to be a guy to look for those big budget movies because he's coming off a really small movie. And do this movie, let's see what else he can do. So that's why I think Jurassic World's the one to look out for right now. Now, got a bunch of small movies this weekend as well opening up, and the one there's a lot of buzz on is a movie called Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. Director Alfonso Gomez-Rejon, written by Jesse Andrews, who wrote the novel and the screenplay, and it stars Olivia Cooke, Nick Offerman, and Connie Britton. The synopsis: a teenage filmmaker befriends a classmate with cancer. I've seen the trailer for this one, and I don't know if you guys how much you knew about it going into it, but Mark, what do you...
Did not know much about going into it. All I suspected was it might be like this year's The Fault in Our Stars. And seeing the trailer, I'm definitely locked into this movie. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to see this opening weekend after I see Jurassic Park. It's a totally different kind of movie, but it looks like it's going to be one of those tugging at the heartstrings. You're going to get some notes of comedy and some drama. Particularly, I'm excited to see, and it may not be one of the major plot points in the film, but Nick Offerman, anything that guy does, you talk about Parks and Rec stars having a big weekend in theaters. This guy is so funny, but he also has that ability to transcend just doing comedy on screen. So seeing him in this role, and then as well as the two leads, this is something that I think it might make old Mark Ellis tear up a little bit.
David?
I'm definitely a 4 on this one. Seeing it opening weekend, it's just I like the cast too. It just looks like a neat world to inhabit, and I wasn't a big fan of A Fault in Our Stars. I didn't like that. I thought that movie was too tuggy, too trying to be obviously I want to see that movie opening weekend. All I heard was all around me. Everybody's just crying up. And I get it's a sad movie, but this one I love. There's a scene in the trailer where he says if this was the love story, we would lock eyes and fall in love, and then it just cuts out and he's like, but this isn't a love story. This isn't about that. And I like the different demographics. He has an African-American friend. Looks like he lives more in maybe the inner city part of town, more the bad side of town. I like that that's his buddy, and they all kind of meet and they hang out and they make films together, and it looks very sweet and endearing, but not overly trying to tug at you, not trying to force you to cry, which I like.
Yeah, I'm an opening weekend as well, and I think for me, and Nick Offerman, he does have that perfect blend. I don't know how big of a role he has in this too, but Kings of Summer is another one. If you haven't seen Nick Offerman in Kings of Summer, man, he's great in that movie. But this is another one of those movies, somewhat like Kings of Summer, is where it's a little film, people are kind of talking about it, buzzing about it, and hearing that synopsis, these two kids that just are filming stuff, and they find it's a coming of age story as well too, into where you're really finding your talents, and then not only finding your talents, you strike up this relationship, and like you said with Fault in Our Stars, it's got a little bit of that, but how much are they pulling? How much is the story? How much is the characters? So this is a movie to me that I think could be one you're going to hear a lot about come Oscar season, because it already has that kind of talk that's going around with it, and even at the festivals that they've played so far.
Well, it's crazy. It won jury award and audience.
Yeah.
So the judges loved it and the audience loved it too. So that's a really good sign.
It seems like, and you can tell. Sometimes they paint these trailers, and you're like, I don't necessarily know what I'm getting. I seem to know from this particular trailer exactly what I'm going to get from this movie. I can decide to go see it. I'm going opening weekend. It's a big 4 for me. So that's it. I mean, unless you guys have anything else to say.
You smelling a best adapted screenplay? Because the guy who wrote the novel also did the screenplay. That usually it works pretty well.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's one of those movies again that depending on what kind of performances we get, and you could get a lot of different things there. You're right. I think that that's a good bet out of all these right now. That if you want to say it could be an early candidate, is probably writing.
Yeah, but almost no dinosaurs in this movie. So.
I was gonna say, look out for Olivia Cook. I think she's gonna be on the rise. She's great in a TV show. It's called Bates Motel right now. She has to wear a breathing apparatus on that one too. Seems like she's always dying or on the verge of dying. Yeah, it's research. So I look out for Olivia Cook. She's good.
All right. So the next film on the docket would be Vendetta. It's directed by Jen Soska, Sylvia Soska, and it's written by Justin Shady. It stars Dean Cain, Superman himself, Michael Eklund, and Kira Zagorski. And I forgot about The Big Show. The Big Show's in there as well, too. And the synopsis, a detective pushed beyond his limits will stop at nothing for vengeance when his wife is killed by a criminal that he put away. Mason, a hard-nosed detective, deliberately gets arrested in order to get revenge. While inside, Mason discovers a new criminal enterprise that those behind it would kill to protect, and I struggled to get through that one. I am going to be not interested in Vendetta. It looks like a direct-to-DVD film, which the WWE Studios is doing, and it just where'd they find Dean Cain? Where's he been? I mean, it's like
he's on Supergirl. He'll be on Supergirl.
That makes sense. Vendetta releasing in theaters. I don't know if that's your bankable bank. So. Yeah, I'm going to say no thanks, David.
I'm a 1, but I will say, just look at this poster. If this was the next WrestleMania and you had Superman as Dean Cain versus The Big Show, I would buy that pay-per-view. I would buy that pay-per-view. But since this is a movie and they're going to be in jail beating each other up, I'm a 1 on this one as well. I can't do Dean Cain doing this. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah. Can I even camp out for this? Like, do I just camp out in front of my computer and wait until it hits VOD or iTunes?
You're going to be waiting for about 3 hours.
I'm
from today.
I'm going to be the dude camping out.
Yeah.
You might as well just go camping because you're going to be all by yourself. I'm going to 1. I don't care about this movie. tell me again. This guy who's he's willing to stop at what? Like, what's going to stop this guy? Nothing.
Look at that scar. He's got a scar over him, but he's tough.
You know why? You know why I got that scar? Because he was willing to stop at nothing, and he ended up getting a scar on his forehead. And now I love that it says Dean Cain and The Big Show on it.
All this is I think it's a play for. It's going to do some international dollars. I think between Dean Cain and The Big Show, and WWE Studios just has not got. I think they've had one decent movie, and I think it was that one. Well, I liked, not anyone else did, with Colin Farrell, where I can't remember the name of it, but they haven't had a lot of hits, and it seems like they're sticking some talent in there. And
yeah, I mean, let's be honest, they're not making this to get Best Adapted Screenplay Oscars. They're just doing this to.
Very limited, very
it's still an action movie, so maybe it'll be fun, but I don't care.
All right, and then for the last one for today, we have Pressure, directed by Ron Scalpello. And it stars Danny Houston, Matthew Good, and Joe Cole. Synopsis is a group of men are trapped in a small pod on the seabed after diving down to fix an oil pipeline and becoming separated from their ship. David, how excited are you for this one?
I am going to give it a 3.
Okay.
I'm seeing it just because I love underwater movies. I know we were talking about all of us before this about Black Sea with Jude Law, which is actually kind of, I would call that a sleeper maybe in terms of just how good it was. I didn't know it was going to be good, and I thought it was excellent. I love Crimson Tide and Hunt for October. I think it's underwater. This looks more like it's about obviously pressure. Let's say obvious the title, pressure, and they're sinking and they got to get out, and so I'm down to see this. I mean, I like the I want to make sure to get his name right. Joe Cole, the young guy. He's on a TV series right now called Peaky Blinders with Cillian Murphy right now, Scarecrow himself, and he can act. He's good. He's one of those guys you're going to want to look out for in the next couple of years.
Mark. Yeah, Matthew Good never popped for me. Danny Houston is always good on screen, so I'm going to give this a 2. I'm curious to see what it is. I can't go seeing it because I'm not sure if these guys will stop at nothing to fix this problem that's underwater. You're right. It's something about underwater movies. When I'm walking into them, I'm like, oh man, this is really going to feel claustrophobic, and I always end up digging them. I really like Black Sea, which is why I'm curious. I need somebody to see it and then tell me if I should see it, because just from seeing the trailer, I can't get that excited, that revved up about it. It's an interesting premise, but it feels like one that's been done before. So if I hear that it does something original, has a different twist than what Black Sea offered, then I might want to see it. Right now, just curious.
I'll go seeing it. I understand your points completely, and the only reason I think I agree, David, here is because of who they have in this movie with Danny Houston and Matthew Good's been. I really disliked him in the was the Zack Snyder comic book one.
He was Ozymandias in Watchmen, yeah.
In Watchmen, I didn't love him in that. I thought he was bad casting in that, but then he's been in some other stuff recently that he's kind of won me over. I do think he's pretty talented, and then and it's this new kid, Joe Cole. But the fact that Black Sea just happened, this looks similar with maybe not as much of the crime element behind it. It looks like they're just kind of more like just got screwed. It's an expedition team that got screwed underwater. But if these are done right, they can have a lot of suspense, and it's terrifying when you think about just watching this trailer. There was a moment I was like, oh, you sink, and that has to be a testament to these performances. Because if it's the Big Show and Dean Cain in this trailer, I don't care.
Yeah, but Christian, they will stop at nothing.
Right, that's true. They will
literally nothing will stop them.
Nothing. So I'm interested. I mean, so I would say I'm seeing this because of the performances. That's it. That's what we got. That's our show. I would like to thank the panel today. David Griffin, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at GriffinDE.
All right, Mark Ellis.
I will stop at nothing to have you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 5150Ellis. You tell me what I need to do, and I will not stop, because I stop at nothing.
I would stop at nothing to have you say stop at nothing.
I will stop at nothing.
I am Kristian Harloff. Make sure that you check me out at Kristian Harloff on Instagram, on Twitter. Check out AMC Jedi Council here every Thursday. And do your due here and comment. What ones that we've talked about, maybe that you didn't hear about, do you want to see? How excited are you for Jurassic World? Go back and watch some other episodes to see. Maybe there are a couple smaller movies that you didn't know were playing at an AMC theaters near you. Do that. Check it out. And we'll see you next week.